once the situation is calmed down, like what's the first country that you'll be visiting?
So next on our list is actually Japan again.
Japan.
We need to do some like housekeeping kind of things.
Yes.
My partner is Japanese, like I was saying. She needs to renew her passport and see family and these kinds of things. So it'll be kind of a stepping stone. But after we get situated, we would like to go to Georgia next.
Georgia?
Not the state where I'm from in the United States.
It's a different
It's a
Georgia.
country
It's a
near,
country.
Yes.
So
near
why?
Russia. Why Georgia? Good question. We did the working holiday visa here in Australia, but Georgia has a cool visa system for people who work online. So
how does it work?
She works online as well. It's basically a working holiday style visa, but it's a work visa that's given out to people who have an online job, as opposed to needing to get a sponsored through a company so that when the visa application goes through, you can prove that you make a wage online, and it's much more streamlined for digital nomads, which is kind of like the buzzword of people who are working online.
Is that so? Basically, anyone can apply for that visa.
That's right. Yeah, it's much easier process than a normal work visa application.
Hi, my name is Lizzie. Yes, that is right. I am a professional singer. I trained in London in musical theatre, so I sing, I dance, I act, all at the same time.
An all-around performer.
Yeah. And I also teach children singing and acting in the UK as well, which I really, really enjoy. Yes. Which is all online now, so that's kind of handy. Aside from that, I usually do a lot of my performing on big cruise ships, which go around the world. So I've been to
so amazing, really?
Yes, this is great. It's beautiful. It's an amazing way to travel with your job and get treated like a celebrity sometimes. It's amazing.
Of course, you are. And now you're a celebrity in Native Camp. So now I'm so excited because I think all the students are excited because you're a professional singer. So can you sing a little bit?
Whoa! Oh my God! I'm not warmed up. Okay.
It's okay. Just a little bit is okay.
Gosh, let me see. Oh, I'm put under pressure now and I can't think of a song. Okay, I could sing you a song from The Sound of Music.
Oh,
very famous musical. Okay, let's see if I can get the words right. Here we go. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things.
Oh. I love that. Now that you are in Native Camp, what do you love most about teaching online?
Boy, where to start? I love to travel. So to me, this is like traveling from my own house because I get to meet so many new people. I get to learn about different cultures, and I love that. I just think it's such a beautiful platform. It's so personal.
Yes.
And it's so much nicer than going into a class.
Oh,
so
really?
What I love about for example, I'm trying to learn French at the moment.
Oh, great.
And I would give anything for them to have a platform like Native Camp.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. So you mentioned earlier that you've been to Japan. How long did you stay in Japan?
Yeah, I lived in Japan for 6 months. I lived in Osaka.
Wow.
I love Japan. I have such a passion for it. The food, of course. The food is amazing.
Delicious.
People. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just everything. The whole culture. It's just so special to me.
And I think the students feel pretty excited, especially if they hear the teachers that the teacher has been to Japan. It makes them feel happy. There's like some kind of a connection that they feel.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like we can connect on a certain level and kind of have more things to talk about as well in a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any memorable experiences in Japan? One thing that you can never forget?
Oh, goodness gracious. I had so many things that I couldn't forget. Just from getting lost in the city. And when I first went to Japan, I did not speak Japanese very well, so I knew basic greetings and things like that. But I remember getting lost in the city and having no idea how to get home.
So what did you do?
I was with a friend, and so thankfully we just kept walking, and then we found I think we found a convenience store, and so we kind of did like broken English, Japanese, like university dorm room where, and so it was like pointing, and but it was just things like that are so special to me because it's like, it's obviously a problem not knowing where you are or whatever, but it's also such a great experience, and like it's such a great story after. Like, yeah, I got lost in Japan and I figured out how to get home.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
It didn't stop you from coming back to Japan again, right?
Exactly. No, it just made me want to come back more.
Exactly. I know you already have a lot of lessons in native camp. Can you tell us a memorable lesson you've had with a student?
A memorable lesson. Well, I had one student, I guess, almost the same age as me. She was a mom, and she was a staying-home mom. And I remember I felt the pain that she started like, I have studied English, but I have forgotten everything. I have to take care of my family.
Yes.
And, and then the lesson was a free conversation, which turned into kind of talking about her situation, and I totally could understand her because for me, like after graduating from university, and then at the same time I had my children 3 years apart, and I couldn't go out and work outside. I had to work from home, and it's not always possible, and I felt that need of going outside, socializing, So I had the same kind of feeling for her. And we started talking, and she started crying in the middle and said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad that somebody can understand me." And I was like, "Oh, trust me, so many people can understand you. You are a mom, and I am a mom, and I can definitely connect with you. I can understand how you feel because you feel like I used to be very good at something, and now because of being mom, I am not, I'm not good anymore. I'm not practicing anymore. I'm too far from what I am supposed to be." And then it came into a very interesting discussion on how she can improve, how she can get back on track, It was, teaching gives you a very good feeling, but then at the same time, you feel like you helped someone get out of that shell and, feel better.
I totally agree.
That was a very good feeling. Yes, she came back to my class again, and she was very much relieved, and we talked about other stuff, and I felt like, okay, maybe I helped someone to...
You did. I mean, you made her cry because you felt there was a connection during the lesson.
Exactly. There was a connection. That's true. And I never forget. It was very long time ago, maybe like more than a year ago, before the pandemic started. So probably in the beginning that I came to Native Camp. But still, I can remember still all the details about our conversation. And yes,
that's beautiful. And you mentioned earlier that you've traveled, right, to a lot of places. Can you tell the students about some of your trips?
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so I've lived in 5 different countries now. So I usually like to live in a place for a longer period of time so I can get to understand the culture and kind of get to know people and kind of understand the place a little bit deeper. So some of the places that I have lived have been Cambodia, Thailand, Colombia. I'm currently living in Georgia, which is a very interesting place. I guess the main thing that I like about visiting and living in other countries is just learning all the time. You're constantly learning new things and meeting new people and having new experiences.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I guess that's one of the main things. But I've traveled to over 30 countries, so
a lot of countries.
A lot of experiences that I could draw upon there.
Regarding the textbook in Native Camp, what is your favorite textbook?
My favorite textbook would probably the Daily News.
Oh,
I do have a lot of students that choose the Daily News. Now, the Daily News, I really like it because it not only gives you a vocabulary to learn, it also gives you definitions, examples, so we can really look into learning new vocabulary and using it on a daily basis. Also, it has a daily news, the article, which is it has for the student to read, making sure that the pronunciation is good, and comprehension, which is questions about what you just read. So, and also at the end, it has a little free talk to talk about the article. So I feel that daily news just covers a lot of things there. So I really love that.
Exactly. You pointed all the good things or important things about the daily news article textbook. Can you tell me, like you told me before that you've been teaching for 15 years now. Who inspired you to become a teacher? Who was your role model?
So my role model were my teachers, especially in high school. Like they were really laid back, and sometimes they would just they made it seem really easy. I'll be honest, they made it seem easier than it is, teaching in school, right? So they would just really laid back environment and having that connection with students. So they really inspired me. I myself know a few languages, so I know what it's like to learn a different language, right?
Wow, can you tell us what other languages you speak?
So since I've worked abroad in the Persian Gulf region, like Dubai and Kuwait, and so I picked up Arabic, I picked up some languages that are a mix of Persian and Arabic, and currently, most recently, I've started to learn some Japanese, right?
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Can you give us some phrases that you know of?
In Japanese?
In Japanese and Arabic? If it's
okay, it's decent. Japanese, I've learned obviously the basics, konnichiwa and chatamate. If you want your students to just hold on a moment, give me one moment, chatamate. Most recently, I think it's Ego wa hanasemasu ka?
What does that mean?
I think it means something like, do you speak English?
Oh,
so something like that.
Who taught
and
you
then
that? What's your secret in becoming a popular teacher? Can you tell the teachers who are watching this video?
Oh, okay. I think I just be myself, and also I try and respect each student and what they want to do. So I try and be kind and, maybe have a little laugh and, just go with the flow.
Wow. And you have a very positive and welcoming aura. You have this kind of vibe that makes the student feel comfortable during the lesson. On your profile, it says that you've been to a lot of countries. Can you tell us? I know it's a lot of countries, but definitely there are some of your favorites, right? What countries are those?
Well, up until 2014, I lived in the United States except for 1 year. Being an architecture student, I studied abroad in France. And while I was in France, I traveled to 16 different countries throughout Europe and Northern Africa. But before I studied abroad, I never really had a desire to travel. But once I spent that year in France, all I ever wanted to do was travel after then. So within a couple years of graduating university, I had my son. And while I was still traveling, it was much less adventurous. I stayed throughout North and Central America and the Caribbean. So me and my son have traveled together to 11 different countries in the North American region and the Caribbean. But as soon as my son is old enough to fly out on his own and he is gone, then my next adventure will be Asia.
Also, I've read on your profile, it was very interesting because it says that right now, your book is about to be published, like a children's book, right? Can you tell us about it?
Yes. So I'm very interested in the environment, especially climate change. And so I've wanted to write books for a long time, and I started doing that in the past couple of years.
Wow.
I wrote books for lots of different children, different ages, but the one I'm going to publish is for children between the age of 4 and 8, and it's a story about a little hermit crab who finds it hard to make friends.
Oh my god! I love
that. So it's a cute little story. It rhymes as well. So as soon as it's out there in the open, I'll send links to all of my younger students so that they can read along as well.
Okay. Well, I've been to the Philippines.
Oh, really? When was that?
Yeah, for my honeymoon.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So my husband is Filipino.
Your husband's Filipino? Oh my god! I'm so surprised.
I know. He was born here, but his parents were born in the Philippines.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. For our honeymoon, 3 years ago, we went to Thailand and the Philippines.
Oh my goodness! Please do come. Where did you go to the Philippines?
So it's a small town. I don't know if you know Ujunan.
Oh, I don't know Ujunan.
Ujunan, yes. Yeah, it's not so common. It's not far from Romblon.
Oh, okay. Romblon, I know.
Okay, yeah. So it's not so far from Romblon.
Oh my goodness! And how long did you guys stay?
We stayed for 10 days, I believe.
10 days. Please do come to Cebu. I'll welcome both of you and your family.
Yes, thank you. Well, we do plan to visit again, absolutely, once this whole pandemic is over.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Again, only one thing?
Only one thing.
Okay, if I could change one thing about the world, what would it be? Everyone gets free mangoes.
Wow, please. In the Philippines, we have a lot of mangoes. Please visit Cebu.
It's not the same in many places. So
Yes, tastes quite different in every country, they said.
yeah. Mangoes here in Cambodia are amazing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, very sweet.
Oh my goodness. How about we do like a YouTube video, Cambodian mango versus Filipino mangoes? That would be fun. Alright. Thank you so much, teacher Yuan. Now, you love Hayao Miyazaki in Japan and you love ramen.
Yes, I do.
Have you been to Japan before?
No, I mean, it's so funny, this question, because many students, they always tell me that, so you have been to Japan before because you know a lot about Japan. And it's just like, I hope. I mean, I would love to travel to Japan and stay there for the rest of my life. But the thing is that I as I mentioned, like growing up in California, I always had a lot of Latino friends, Asian friends, and some of my dearest relations, they are from outside America. And I remember just like growing up and my friend just like giving me a VHS to watch Totoro or Sento Chihiro or stuff like this, and I would just be like, wow, this is so impressive.
And they have, I believe, a Ghibli Studio Museum that you can go. It's gonna be a paradise for you because you love, Hayao Miyazaki. And you know what? I'm pretty sure a lot of the students would want to be your tour guide if you want to go to Japan.
Of course. Many of them, they have offered, like, if you ever find here, just like, please let me know so I can show you around. Yeah, and I go the same ways. Like, if you ever come to America once the whole COVID thing is over, I would love to show them around.
Yeah, exactly. Can you tell us like a memorable experience you've had in one of those countries?
Sure. When I was in Washington, D.C., I was a student, but I did some work for the Democratic National Committee. And at that time, I'm giving my age away here now. It was 1996, so it was a long time ago. And President Clinton was trying to get re-elected. So I did some work for the party that he represents.
Wow.
And we managed to meet him.
Really?
And I went to his saxophone party.
Oh my God, that's so great.
So like Stevie Wonder was playing. And,
really? That's so surreal.
Yeah, Bruce Hornsby, like all these
goodness.
great musicians. And there's me just sitting there, a young student. So that was a very memorable experience, one that I will never ever forget. And these are the things that traveling can do. It just widens your horizons and gives you a completely different view of life in general.
Exactly.
So hi, I'm teacher Ilse. I am 27 years old. I am from the United States. Do you guys know the state of Arizona? That's where I'm from. But now recently I live in Mexico. So I live in near a big city called Guadalajara. I think I had a little bit of a culture shock when I came to live in Mexico because I always came to Mexico to visit my grandma, my family, but not often. So when I first came, I got married with a Mexican man. So we decided to thank you. So we decided to come to Mexico for a couple of years before settling in the US. But when I came down here, there were some things that I never experienced. For example, I think this is more common in other countries. In the US, we are never cold and we are never hot. So we all have central heating and cooling systems in the US, and therefore our life is very comfortable in every season. But in Mexico, that doesn't exist.
Oh, really?
You have to be a little bit cold or a little bit hot during the winter. I'm sorry, a little bit hot during the summer and a little bit cold during the winter. And this was kind of a culture shock.